Hi everyone, this is Marlene. This is going to be a presentation on preparing nurses to activate self-care. The presentation focus on what we need and also how important is self-care to you. And how can we create time and space for self-care? So first, what is self-care? According to the World Health Organization, self-care is defined as what people do for themselves to establish and maintain health and to prevent and deal with illness. And it is said that self-care is a skill, so that we as nurses, which we as nurses neglect for sure, by taking care of our patients, taking care of our children, and sometimes our parents, and even our friends at times who are going through physical and mental hard times. So for nurses to be able to continue being caregivers, we need to take time to take care of ourselves, because giving, and not giving back to ourselves will surely tend to burnout. So well-being is the presence of positive emotions and the absence of negative emotions. I think this is sort of turned around, so sorry, I don't know how to do it the other way. So again, it's the presence of positive emotions, big smiling face, and absence of negative emotions, a sad face. So actually it can start in nursing school, where it is reported that there are high degrees of burnout, of where more than half of nurses express decline in well-being. And even some schools are now integrating self-care courses, and they are getting credit for it also. High rates of burnout and of nurses leads to a lot of nurses leaving the profession. So what can we do to create time and space for self-care activities? I'm going to go through many little tests, like we're going to do the Ocean personality test, a wellness test, a coping assessment test. So knowing who we are and how we react to things and how we cope will, of course, tell a lot about of how we're going to cope. So positive coping skills leads to job satisfaction and a decrease in stress levels. And we all know that stress contributes to the chronic illnesses like hyperglycemia, hypertension, decrease of our immune system, and ignoring it can also lead to chronic fatigue and depression. So let's start with well-being, which is described by the presence of positive emotions and the absence of negative. So like I said, we're going to talk about wellness, resilience, meaningful work, and social connection. So there's Viktor Frankl, F-R-A-N-K-L, who was an Australian psychologist and neurologist and a Holocaust survivor who founded the logotherapy, which focused on meaningful life. And one quote from him says, "Everything can be taken from a man except one thing, the last of the human freedoms, which is to choose one's attitude in any one circumstance, to choose our own way." So of course, when something negative happens around you, it's not, we can't really judge who's doing the negative actions, but we can judge ourselves of how we react to these negative reactions. So we're going to learn about ourselves and how we're coping, what is healthy and not healthy, what you want to focus on for health promotion when you leave this little presentations. So again, I'm going to, the three things that we'll be doing: the personality type inventory through the Ocean test, Ocean personality test, health self-assessment, wellness, coping, and a coping assessment. So we need to be mentally well. Mental health, so there's a difference between mental health and what we're here for, which is mental wellness. So I don't want to really see myself too much. Okay, there's a nice little picture that we all have in our SHEP 5 room, so I'm going to let you focus on that and just listen to me. Mental health is the emotional well-being, it's psychological well-being, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act, and how we respond to stress and relate to others, and how to make healthy choices. And mental wellness is a state of wellness where you are functioning very well in our different roles. So like how we cope at work, how we're involved in something greater than ourselves, our social connections. So we need to be mentally well. And how can we do that? Well, one of the good ways is through meaningful work, which we're all blessed with. Being nurses, we have one of the most meaningful works that is available to mankind, helping others through difficult times. And so what makes work meaningful to you? It could be your colleagues. You come to work and have your social connection with colleagues, instilling hope and seeing improvement in the patients that you're taking care of, and growth within yourself and growth within the patients. So there can be three dimensions of meaningful work. Significance. Is the work meaningful to you? Second, a broader purpose, contributing to the greater goal. Did it touch someone or somebody other than you? And self-realization. Does it reflect you and who you are? Does it align with your beliefs? And does your job reflect you? So the significance is less about the job than the individual's perspective of the job. So all work is meaningful. I think, some of the most meaningful and helpful work in a hospital, it's definitely the doctors and the nurses that are, hands-on. But if we didn't have our cleaners, we would be in a total chaos. The places would be messy, we would be full of germs, the workplace would be contaminated. So doctors and the cleaners are both equally as important to maintain a healthy environment in the hospital. So here's a few questions to ponder on. You can make like a little a page, and make some columns, columns like that, okay? And then in one column, write now. Make your goals that you have now and your 5-year plan to achieve the goals that you have. So you can make it something like that. And again, it's the other way around, so it doesn't make sense. So some of the questions you could ask to ponder on and think about. First question, how do you describe your work? Second, how do you feel on the evening before going back to work after your weekend, whenever that is? Could be your weekend could be Monday and Tuesday. So how do you feel that night before you go back? If you didn't need money, what would you do? And what would you change about your current work to make it more meaningful to you? What would it take to make your work more meaningful? So these are great questions to think about and to ponder as we're coming to work, before we come to work. So, meaningful work and social connection. And it starts with who you are and how you interact with people and how that affects your social connection. So we have a personality assessment, which is the Ocean personality test. And again, I don't know, you probably can't, I don't know, you have to read it backwards or something. So on this test, it's a personality test, and it scores you on your openness, your conscientiousness, your extroversion, your agreeableness, and your neuroticism. So when you get your results, it indicates who you are and how you react with other people. And so meaningful work to you does not mean the same to others. depending on your personality traits and who you are. So it's a really fun quiz. I did it, the first one is your personality, how practical you are, and then it'll score you and it'll tell you if you like well-known established ideas. You can focus on which ideas you already have. It gives you some challenges. So, you pause the video right now and go to your computer. And this, like I said, I can put it up, but I think it's like backwards. So I will tell you what it is. You go to the computer, https:// 2// prism, PRISMOCEAN.com /profile /PCEAN. So that's, I used that website and had fun doing the quiz. It was really fun to know my personality. And so then through the personality test, it's going to give you your risks and benefits of social connection. So some of the negative and positive things, being social is a key to resilience, more likely to engage in health. You're more likely to engage in health promotion if we hold each other accountable. So if you're like an introvert and you don't really have anybody to bounce your ideas off with, you will not become as resilient as others. And you're probably more at, being isolated, more at risk again for stroke, hypertension, diabetes, depression, and dying sooner, which is kind of, a big thing to think about. So more resilience you are, the more your mood improves, you recover faster, and you can live longer. So as we tell our patients and community, the secrets of longevity of life, it's kind of very hard to be resilient in isolation. Social connection is a big factor. The results of Ocean. So sorry, we'll just go back to Ocean now. So one of the ones, openness. How open are you to new ideas, adventures, experiences, and challenge? Decrease in openness. You like rules and structure. You make good scientists and researchers. Conscientiousness. How goal-directed and persistent, organized, and structured you are. An increase, like if you've got a high score, you can work almost anywhere if there isn't structure. You'll figure it out and be successful. Third point is extroversion, where you thrive off the company of others. When you get home, extroversion. So, introversion is when you get home and you're very happy to be alone and you like to be by yourself. And extroversion, well, you know what that is. That's probably me. I'm very extroverted, I think. Agreeableness, how you put other people's interests ahead of your own. Like an example at shift, change, report, and assignments. So, we all want to be agreeable. We all, we want to have fair assignments. We are doing that through the Acuity tool and things like that. So I think as nurses, we all want to be agreeable and be fair to each other. And apparently agreeableness is very high among nurses. If you're high in agreeableness, you're great to have on a team. You benefit the people in your workplace. You keep the ship rolling. You're good for the morale of the team, the culture, and the workplace. But you're at most at risk for decreased wellness as you are not taking care of yourself and you're not setting good boundaries. Decreased awareness, those people are more blunt, direct, or they sugarcoat things. And they make good accountants, administrators, research workers, data-driven careers, and engineers. So you know what? Even if you're not very agreeable or anything, you have great potential for lots of careers. Fifth is neuroticism, which is how sensitive you are to the stressors surrounding you. So when a day goes wrong, how do you react? A decrease in it means you feel that life is harder, small things upset you, you can see small things as a big setback. And if you're high in neuroticism, you accept and go with the flow. So how you respond to things tells you who you are and what you need to do to change them. If you want to change, who cares? Maybe we're just happy as we are. So also we have to, reflect on, usually we are ourselves we are harder on ourselves than anybody else. So we can be more critical of ourselves. So there is also a change in, so what happens in responses is they can change with time, because if you've gone through trauma in your life, life-changing events, things can change in these scores. Like you can have a decrease in conscientiousness, a decrease in agreeableness, and a decrease in extroversion. You had a big trauma. Who the heck wants to go out to a party and laugh all day after, you've had a very big trauma? So through all of this, you need to be self-aware and know who you are and what you need. So the next point I'm going to go over is resilience. So resilience is the ability to respond successfully to disturbances, whatever they are. Getting through a heavy assignment can be, are you resilient? Do you take the assignment? Do you make the best of it? I know that I had a patient that I was dread having. It just awful. And I don't know, I had a colleague that said, you're going to be okay. And I went in with a really positive attitude, and the more I really got to know her, the more time I wanted to spend with her, because I found her very, what she presents on the outside is not what was in the inside. So I was really happy to get over that. I don't want to take care of that difficult patient. And it brought great satisfaction to me. And another nurse had said, I feel sorry for the patient, for the nurses who don't want to take care of the difficult patients, because they're missing out on a lot. And that really opened my eyes too. It was a great thing. It was a great way to think about a difficult patient. And so resilience also is your ability to bounce back after a trauma, after a big event. Like when I was working on SHEP 6, and I was punched in the face during a code. So I know I acted very inappropriately, because I took the frequent board and I wanted to go around and do all the frequents of all the patients, and I felt like there were tears coming down my eyes, and I was still going around. So that wasn't a very good way to cope. Maybe I should have just sat there for 15-20 minutes and digest what happened to me. But that was the way I coped, and then finally I calmed down and realized I'm not coping very well, and I needed to go to the ED, take care of myself and my emotions. So the ability to respond and cope in an appropriate way with stressors dictates how resilient you are. And we can grow and develop this. The key to it all is hope and optimism, that things can get better. So just the belief that they can get better, they will get better. So what we can do is try to build positive habits, positive routines, being in community when we know we need community. And so to sum it all up, strengthening our sense of self and being part of something that is bigger than us is the key. Next thing that we'll do is to check ourselves and our health. So this test, it's the seven. I used the 7 dimensions of wellness, and here is the wellness thing. And like I said, you can't read it. So I'll give you the link. It's https://ABBOTTSOLUTIONSC.com/7 dimensions of wellness. So go to the computer and do your wellness test. It's fun. There's 7 dimensions of wellness, which is described as social wellness, physical wellness, emotional wellness, career wellness, intellectual wellness, environmental wellness, and spiritual wellness. It's a great quiz. It doesn't take very long. They interpret your results. They interpret your results related to others. So it was a fun test to take. And so while reading each item, you look at, you're reflecting and looking at yourself. And this, okay. So how did everybody do? Did everybody have fun with that? I'm hoping so. Last but not least is our COPE assessment. So how do you cope with things? Are you more problem focused, emotional focused, or avoidance focused? And that also, there's a quiz for that, and it's the COPE assessment right at the bottom, and I will give you the link for that. It's www.fortrefuge.com/quiz/cope.php. So these are the different ways that you cope. So let's just say you're problem focused. That's how you usually cope in a problem. So what the drawback of that is, you can plan forever. You have all your every step of the way, but you're not really looking at how emotionally other person will react to your plan. And then you could be more emotional focused, and this creates a problem because it can lead us to the wrong direction, because we're going through just our emotions and not facts. And the last one is avoidance focused, which I know that's a good way for me to cope, but it does lead to bigger problems in the end. So it's probably not the best coping skill to have. So this COPE assessment measures what you do, but it does not necessarily mean you have to do it. We use our coping, the method that we use is because, number one, it worked for us through our whole life, and so it feels good and we keep on using it. But that you can definitely change your way of coping. Sometimes you could, if you're like avoidance, you could go and speak to somebody that's problem focused and, come up with a plan together, and I know it could work, if you want to change your coping mechanisms, and maybe you don't want to. So just to sum it all up, to be mentally well, develop habits that build resilience, find meaning in your work, and maintain supportive social connections. So we can ask ourselves, how do I spend my time? Where do we have impact? Who have I influenced? And what legacy are you investing in? Not when you're, at the end of your life, how are people going to speak about you? I know, we had a nurse on our unit. The older nurses would know her. She was a night nurse, and, she would show up at work, never complained, never missed a day, always there for her colleagues, and she lasted until the end of her life because she must have found nursing a meaningful career, that she continued that right till the end of her time. I think that's it. You know, society puts us in a box. We don't have to adhere to it. We can make changes if we want to. So hope that you enjoyed the presentation. Do the little quizzes. They're really, really a lot of fun. And remember that we see others through our own selves. So we have to be well to see everybody. You know, we have to think positive about ourselves, and we will see everybody in a positive light. Okay, thank you for the time you took to look at this video. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.